welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, karibu sana. I'm so happy to be here. I hope that you are too. And today we have another amazing video, and it's basically the same day as if you have watched the previous video of how I found out I was pregnant. I'm shooting this back to back so that I can have content for you guys. So in this video we are going to talk about my pregnancy and labor and delivery. I'm going to tell you the good, the bad and the ugly of the whole of that pregnancy, and this is according to my experience. This is a disclaimer, it's according to my experience, and I'm not going to talk about other people's experience. This is my experience. So kama umewatchia video ingine, at this point you are talking about I have already found out that I'm pregnant, and I'm like, oh my god, wow, this is really happening, and I have all kind of emotions, and I am crying each and every day. Kila siku tu mimi nalianga. I'm so mad at myself. How could I let this happen to me? Oh my god, I can't do this. And I was so scared, I was so depressed, I was so unhappy. But one thing for sure I knew is I was going to keep this baby. Why is that? Because I was looking at myself and I was like, oh my god, abortion is not an option for me, because hey, I have committed too many sins. That is how I was reasoning. Oh my god, I have fornicated, now I want to become a murderer. No, can never be me. I am choosing my struggles. I'm going to give birth to this baby and I'm going to raise them. And another thing, I was in love. So I was like, hey, I'm keeping this baby. This baby, I'm keeping it. Hata kama inanipatia depression, I am not going to terminate the pregnancy. That thing why I decided to keep the pregnancy is the fear of abortion. Where me I have heard stories, I have seen people doing abortion, the way they bleed, I don't know what. Hey, that thing is scary. The procedure itself is scaring. From the stories that I have heard, that I was not about to do that thing to myself. So I decided to keep the pregnancy, and at this point I am like 3 weeks. Is it 3 weeks? 3 or 2 weeks pregnant, and now I start to look back. Before I knew I was pregnant, I had telltale signs. The first time that I had was cravings. Oh my god, guys, I was craving hot dog like crazy. Like nilikuwa nalala hivi naona hot dogs kitembea hivi kama caterpillars. And I was like, hey, these cravings, they are crazy. I've never had such cravings in my life. Now looking back, after getting the test, is now when I come to understand, oh my god, the cravings. I had super bad cravings for hot dogs, and I knew this was a telltale sign for me, and I didn't notice me that it maybe craving the mademu kuanganazo za kawaida, but oh my god, that was pregnancy. So I began my journey of pregnancy, and it was a really tough journey at the beginning because I hadn't accepted. Okay, I had accepted because I knew I'm keeping it, but I was like, oh my god, I'm ruining my whole life. I'm supposed to be the role model to my family because I'm the firstborn. And second thing, I am the first person to get a child out of wedlock, as I had mentioned earlier. This has never happened in our family. Like, I am the first one, and it was pretty depressing. Also, I had plans for myself as usual. Plans. I had plans to finish school, start my business, do internships, just build my career in my life before I start to get babies, and all that was brought to a standstill by this pregnancy, and I couldn't put peace to myself to just tell myself that it's okay. And with all those thoughts, with all that crying, I entered into depression, and oh my god, I lost weight like crazy. I lost a lot of weight. Before I knew I was pregnant, I was almost 68. My normal weight is usually 65 to 68, and by the time I was finishing the first trimester, the first 3 months, I was like 57 kgs. You understand what that means? I am pregnant, so I'm supposed to be adding weight so that it can be able to support myself and the baby. But But at this point, I'm depressed. First of all, I'm depressed. Second thing, I am having crazy sickness, and I'm having crazy food aversions. Like, I don't want to take food. At that point, I was super depressed. Also, I was still working because now I was forcing myself to work because I'm like, God, when this baby comes and I don't have the money, what am I going to do? And I'm that kind of a person that I like things done my way. I knew when I have my baby, I want to keep them a certain standards, you know. So I'm like, let me work hard, let me continue working hard so that when that time comes and I'm not able to go to work, I can be able to support myself, at least financially. That is what I thought. Also, I wanted to invest in a good hospital. That did not happen. I'm going to tell you that story in a bit. So that is how my first trimester was. I lost a lot of weight, my blood pressure was really low, and each and every time I used to go for my appointments, the doctor usually alikuwa ananipigia kelele because I was losing weight, like seriously. We made it to the second trimester. The second trimester was fair enough for me. At this point, nilikuwa nimeshaanza come in terms with I'm going to be a mom, but still the depression was there. I'm not in a position to say it was not there totally, but it was there, kidogo it was there. But the second trimester was okay. I started now adding weight, the bump came, and I fell in love with the bump. I started eating. It was nice, not as bad as I thought it would be. And we progressed to the third trimester and the final trimester. At this point, I am wondering, oh my God, which gender is my baby going to be? But let me tell you guys, maternal instincts, they're always right. You know, the first day that I found out I was pregnant, the first thing that I thought of was a baby girl. And I was trying to fight with that feeling so much because I wanted a baby boy. But the first thing that came to my mind was a baby girl. So now we are in the third trimester and I'm viable for a scan. I can be able to know the gender, and I'm like, oh my God, I want to do this like yesterday. So I went, after nimefika kitu kama 7 months, I went to the sonographer, to the gynecological hospital, and I wanted to confirm if I'm really having a girl because me, I want a boy. Me, I want a baby boy. I know my daughter will watch this maybe in the future and she will be like, Mommy, you didn't want me. No hard feelings. I just wanted a baby boy for the first, but I don't know why. But that is what I wanted. It is what it is. This is my truth. This is my story. So we went, and it is very unfortunate for me. Very fortunate for my daughter. It was her. It was a baby girl. Oh my God. Now I started embracing that it is a girl because I knew this is going to be a mini me. We are going to be friends. You're going to be baby girl. She's going to be my best friend. You know, everything between a mother and daughter. And I loved her so much. So I was happy. I started now buying things that are pinkish because before I was buying things that were unisex because I still had my little hope of a baby boy. But my instincts, like 90% of them were telling me it's a girl, and it was confirmed I'm going to have a girl, and that's how my pregnancy was. So let me talk about my labor and delivery. This is the part where it gets ugly and it gets hard. For sure, when I tell you that pregnancy is the easiest journey, you're going to agree with me when you experience it, or if you have already experienced it. So my EDD was like 26th of May, and now I'm preparing for the baby. I am nesting, I'm cleaning everything, my hospital bag is packed, and I am just ready, waiting for this baby to come. Yay! So it reaches like date 23 of May, and it's in a morning. I wake up, I have my normal morning routine. I take breakfast, I wash the utensils, and I start to I was with my boyfriend that day. He had already come because again I was not in Nairobi, I was in Narok. And at this point I had I told my parents, no, let me take you back kidogo, like upon my date 20 of May is when now I am deciding, I'm getting the courage to tell my parents, because all along they didn't know that I was pregnant, because now I'm in school in Narok, and my dad is in Kitengela, my mom is in Murang'a, and I didn't want to tell them because I was afraid. I thought they were going to kill me. How can you get pregnant the way we have invested to take you to school? You know, it has not been easy for my parents to educate us, and I'm here pregnant, so I didn't want to break their heart yet. I wanted at least to protect them, and also I was afraid of telling them. So on that 20th is when now I send my mom a really long text. That is how I told them. It was very bad of me. I know. I couldn't face my dad, so I didn't tell him. I just told my mom and figured out that when my mom knows, she's going to tell my dad, and then now my dad is going to call me and unajua kunikelelesha all sorts of things. I was ready. So I tell my mom and I text her, then I knew immediately she's going to call me, so I switch my phone off. And I just stay like that because hata before we switch off, alikuwa shanza kunipigia like back to back. Sishiki simu ananipigia and I knew this is it. I can't handle the pressure. And to add pressure onto pressure, I am in school and we are on session, and everything is going on as usual in school. The session is going on, and at this point we are nearing the exams. So like niko na pressure mob, sijaambia wazazi, niko na exams na cards. I am supposed to go and deliver this baby, and it was like, oh my god, it was so hard for me, but we did it. And now ikafika date 23, and all of a sudden I start to have cravings over soda. Soda gani ilikuwa Fanta Passion baridi. I start to have cravings of Fanta Passion baridi. So I tell him, he goes and gets it for me, and I start to take it. And before I nimalize one glass, I start to feel funny in my tummy. I start to feel like I am having cramps. If you have had labor, you know that is how labor starts. If you have not, labor starts with a little bit of cramps. So nikaanza kukuwa na cramps. Ashanga rada, no, I cannot be having labor at this time. It's date 26. But low-key, I'm super excited because 23 is also the number that it's also my birthday. Number 20 days 23 rather, it's also my birthday. So low-key, I'm happy because they're going to be sharing birthday dates with my daughter. So low-key, I'm happy. On the other side, I'm not very happy because nilikuwa nimejipaka vile hata nitafanya more cleaning because I was nesting. I wanted to clean and you know if you have nested before. So I was not ready, but everything was ready. Nilikuwa nishapack my bags. I knew the hospital I was going, and that hospital was bad, so bad. So ikafika ilikuwa sasa, it is almost saba, and the contractions zimeanza kuja. Sasa hizi zimeacha kuwa cramps, zimeanza kuwa contractions. It's the day that the Lord has made, the day that I'm finally going to meet my daughter. So I knew the hospital that I was going to deliver my baby was not a good hospital in terms of services, in terms of how people are treated. I knew, for sure I knew, but I didn't have an otherwise. Like I couldn't afford a private hospital, a private wing. So I knew, because I had gone there to see my friend, I knew the situation. And now I'm here, I am going there. So I was like, oh my god, no. Hey, this hospital plan, but it is what it is. The baby has to come out, and I'm not going to give birth here because I don't even have a physician. We'll just have to go. So what I did, I told myself, I'm going to stay in the house, like here. Nitaka kwa nyumba ile time nitafeel like the contractions zimeanza kuwa very strong, zimeanza kuwa back to back, is when I'm going to go to the hospital, so that I I do not spend a lot of time in the hospital because the hospital is bad. Like watu wako overcrowded, watu ni wengi, doctors wako kidogo, people are sharing beds, and you know, kama umeshaenda kwa maternity ward, you know that everybody there is bleeding. Like, oh my god, it's so ugly. And you are there sharing a bed with somebody. It feels so bad, and that process is ugly, especially in that hospital. So me, I had my contractions and ikafika 6 jioni, and I called my friend called Mercy. Shout out to Mercy. Oh my god, Mercy is my guardian angel. I love that girl with all of my heart, because oh my god, the things she did for me, the things Mercy did for me. Hebu mwambie Mercy hapo kwa comment section, thank you so much, because the things Mercy did for me, I cannot be able to repay her. Only God can do that for me. So I call Mercy, I tell her I am having contractions, and I think this is the day so the Lord has made. And Mercy is with another friend of ours, a friend of mine called Sisi, if you're watching this, shout out to you. I was making her hair. Mercy came to my house, her hair was done, she was looking nice. She came, she prepared dinner for us. Nilipika ugali hapo na mayai na sukuma, and we had the meal, but I couldn't have the meal because, as I had told you earlier, my pregnancy was filled with a lot of food aversions, and at this point I'm having contractions. Hiyo food ilinikataa kabisa. I couldn't eat the food, and I was so mad at myself because I was like, if I don't eat, how am I going to push this baby? You know, I need the strength, but nimeshindwa kabisa kukula kabisa. So at this point nimefika 9ish, like 8:40 to 9 up. What a skumbuki time, but it was around that time. And the contractions now, they're like crazy, like back to back after every 1 minute ama 2. So I'm like, hey, this is it, we need to go to the hospital. And now I am beginning now to cry. I am beginning to feel pain that I cannot control. So an ambulance comes and takes us to the hospital, and I went to that hospital that I didn't want to go, but I didn't have a choice. So we reached the hospital, and kwanza nimesahau kitu kuambia. Vile the ambulance, when the ambulance came, there was this lady. Sijui kama she's a unaitangwa aje paramedic, kama she's actually a doctor. She comes and she looks at me the way I'm in pain, and you know what she begins to do? She begins kunipigia kelele. You know, madam alinipasha, my friend. She told me, you know, this is very risky for the baby, for yourself. Ulikuwa unafanya nini kwa nyumba, and you have contractions, you're almost giving birth, sijui nini. And she takes me to the ambulance, tukapanda gari tukaenda tukafika hospital. Now we are in the hospital, akanipeleka mbio, we went, tukaingia. I think Mercy and my boyfriend walibaki huko waki-register those formalities that you have to do in the hospital. So mimi nimepeleka, nikaingia kwa maternity. Tukapika kwa maternity, tukaingia kwa delivery room. So vile tuliingia kwa delivery room, that is where things got out of hand, and I was like, oh my god, this is the worst hospital I've ever been in, and I never want to be here again, because niliingia hivi kwa hiyo delivery room, and everything was ugly. The blood was all over the place. There were like 3 beds, ama sijui zilikuwa 4, and women were giving birth in each and every one of them. The doctors were so rude, and they were shouting at them. Kwanza kuna mmoja alikuwa inside. A male doctor was beating up the chick. Alikuwa anamchapa makofi. Anamwambia, you need to give birth, don't waste my time. Sijui nini, I shouldn't be here. My shift is almost over. She's beating her, slaps huku kwa thighs, anamchapa, and I was like, oh my god, no. This is not going to happen to me. And now I begin to battle with God. I begin to tell God,